Hello, everybody. My name is meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Thank you for joining me. Winter is gripping the lower 48 as a storm system that is working its way out of the Pacific Northwest will make its way through the nation's Rocky Mountains, the Central Plains, and head to the East Coast. But before that begins, we have weather making its way through right now, causing inclement weather across the deep south. Freeze warnings reaching Florida, the latest coming up in this episode. Let's get started with a fast look at watches and warnings across the nation. Here you go. It's a mess, folks, all the way from the Pacific Northwest, where we have winter weather advisories in blue as we take you in a little bit closer here. The mountains outside of Portland and Seattle seeing the snow showers working their way through. Now you get into the mountains of northern Idaho and western Montana, a winter storm warning is in place there. Bozeman to Great Falls. Bozeman, you folks heading to a big-time football game in Frisco, Texas against, well, the MDSU Bison, of course, and the cold air is reaching its way in. We have cold air advisories and cold air warnings up in North Dakota right now, where wind chills could be reaching 40 to 50 degrees below zero for some. And now look at this, winter weather advisories in blue, all the way from the western Dakotas right into most of Nebraska, except here. Now look at the red. That is a winter storm warning for the storm system rolling out of the Rockies. An ice storm warning on the south side has been placed. This may expand a little bit, and there will be the potential for whiteout snow conditions and possible blizzard conditions. We'll go over that momentarily, but right now a look out to the east showing winter storm watches in yellow for all of the counties you see here through Columbus, Ohio, just north of Nashville, through all of Kentucky for the most part. Now, what's going on now? Well, we have some snow squalls working their way through parts of central Pennsylvania right now, and lake effect snow warnings remain in place in parts of western Pennsylvania as well as upstate New York. Way down in Florida, the cold is to take hold. That is a freeze warning in effect there, and we have some fire danger down in Santa Fe. The mountains of California, also outside of Reno, Nevada, expected to see some ridiculous snowfall amounts as this system works its way through as well. So let's take a look at the latest radar, show you what's going on now with both temperatures and precipitation before the main event even begins. Here you go. Let's look in the Northeast and New England states right now as we zoom into this area. Basically, we have those snow squalls. What is a snow squall? It is a brief period of heavy, blinding snow that doesn't last too long, but as it moves through, it can cause pileups of car. And yes, look at the time. This is Central Time. It's right in the middle of the commute for the evening hours, so it's going to be very tricky out there along that I-80 corridor as we zoom in just a little bit closer. Here is the location of that snow squall, and as we put this into motion, it's basically working its way up. A new snow squall warning has been advised now and issued by the National Weather Service office, spreading into toward the Mifflinburg area and Middleburg areas of Pennsylvania. So this snow squall moving quickly and swiftly along the I-80 corridor and now moving points south. It is exiting State College, PA at this particular time. What does it look like out there? Well, good old Hutch here has a look at some of the Pennsylvania road reports. Let's go right out to it now as we can show you the impacts of this snow squall working its way through parts of central PA. Now, as we get reoriented here, we'll take a look at this map and we'll look at a couple of cameras along the path. Williamsport down to State College. Let's see if I can find that on the map here as we work our way through. So now this system working its way through Williamsport. If I zoom in and turn on the cameras here, let's see what we can find for you. Okay, here we go. Plenty of cameras in and around Williamsport, and this is the area where the snow squall warning has been issued. Well, it's dark there. I don't see the impacts right quite yet in Williamsport. Now, it's just outside of you, just off to the west, so expect the conditions there in your area to deteriorate fairly quickly. As we zoom in just a little bit closer out towards Jersey Shore, let's see if the impacts have made it to that particular area. And yes, we have reduced visibility there, but this is not as bad as a snow squall can get. Just for your information, visibilities can be reduced to darn near zero as it works its way through. So a number of snow squall warnings out there in parts of Pennsylvania. Let's get back to the radar here and show you some other impacts from this particular system. Now you move out towards Philadelphia, and we are seeing some snow reports out there from round one that's made its way through. Only about a half of an inch of snow, but as we look off to the west a little bit, well, we're seeing about a third of an inch, and out to the west even farther, 2 inches of snow south of Butler as we look out towards that Pittsburgh area in the terrain out there. That's what's going on in Pennsylvania. Look down south and look at this. We have Salisbury, Maryland getting a warning right now. Let's take a look at what's going on. This is a weather statement for a maximum wind gusts of around 40 miles per hour as these showers move through. Look at the snow. So we have some rain showers moving through Salisbury as we look off to the west just a little bit, get into the higher terrain and country, and we do have some snow being reported there as this system works its way through. So a brief period of heavy snow working its way through. And again, this is not the main event. This cold front, though, is going to cause that coldest of the air to dive southward. Notice the banding of snow in western parts of Virginia right now. Those snow bands are not moving. They're staying in one place, so we could get some enhanced snowfall potential in a few areas. And here is a look at some special weather statements being issued by the National Weather Service as we look down towards Greenville and Charlottesville and points just south of Bristol as we look into the Ashley area right now. So there are some snow bands working their way through. That's what's going on in the eastern seaboard. The cold air reaching as far south as parts of Georgia, as well as you folks down in the state of Florida for tonight, the northern reaches. Okay, here's a look at the snow showers working their way through Butte, Montana, Billings, Montana right now. These showers producing 1 to 2 inches of snow that have been reported so far. You go out west, this is the Raleigh area, Montana, and that is a magnitude 5.1 inch report of some snow there working its way through. Again, look at this. In the west coast, we have Reno, Nevada getting some heavy bands of snow, winter storm warnings for the mountains there, and we have good old-fashioned hail. That clunks of ice there chunking out of the storm as it made its landfall here. That band of heavier precipitation now moving up to Hayfork and points south as we look in on the coastal areas of California. So that is a quick look at what's going on. Now let's take a look at the national forecast real quickly. We're going to track this system as it works its way from the west coast now to the central plains and eventually the mid-Atlantic states as we go through the weekend ahead. And there will be a risk of severe weather. I'll have an update for that. Tammy, thank you. Hope you are enjoying your day. Lynn, thanks for joining me. Families from Indiana, and they are getting prepared for some wintry weather there for sure. They're going to get some of the cold air that we have here working its way in that, and Jay Beam joining as well. Wish we could get some snow. Where are you at, Jay? I know that a lot of folks feel that way. It's just a burp of cold air coming straight out of Calgary right now, pushing into the northern plains. Snow developing in the northern Rockies, as you saw. Now let's take a quick peek at the track of this very impactful weather system that could bring an ice storm and blizzard-like conditions to the central plains. Here we go as we go through the night tonight, Friday night, moving into Saturday morning right now. The snow showers will focus on western Montana and will be approaching Yellowstone National Park. The cold front down here will be pushing its way through central Utah. So if you are in Provo and points out towards Salt Lake City, expect some heavier snow bands to be pushing into western Colorado as we go through Saturday afternoon. Notice what's beginning here in the central plains. Yep, you guessed it. That is Kansas icing taking place. So some light freezing drizzle and freezing rain will get going with some light snow bands moving through the western Dakotas and central parts of Nebraska. The heavier system will just be getting organized right here. That is a Colorado low. It digs moisture from the Gulf Coast states, moves it northward over the pool of cold air. And as it's rising that moist air, we're going to get areas of rain, severe weather, and thunderstorms, which will bring all risks of severe weather possible in the Gulf Coast states. And then the cold takes hold. Look at this. Look at the blossoming of the intensity. The dark blues showing very heavy snow. Snowflakes the size of Hutch Johnson's hand. That's right. Huge flakes of snow, heavy and wet. Down south just a little bit, we're going to get accumulating sleet and accumulating snow and accumulating freezing rain in the pink areas here, mainly impacting the I-70 corridor right through Kansas, the 80 corridor right through Kansas and Nebraska. So between 80 and 70 here, we'll have that icing potential. Kansas City, Columbia, Missouri, right into the St. Louis area as we go through. The time frame on this is overnight Saturday into Sunday morning. Heavy icing could cripple traffic in these areas, and it could also cause power outage concerns as we look through. Jay says from North Dakota, all we get is the cold, and it's a slap in the face kind of cold too, that's for sure. Ice fishing may be the best it's been in over 2 years for parts of Minnesota and North Dakota, though. That's the good news. More good news for North Dakota and Minnesota. The chance of mosquitoes nearly zero right now. Okay, Jay, as we look at the bright side, look at this system. As we go through Sunday, heavy bands of snow will start enveloping much of western Kansas and southern Nebraska. So this is Omaha, straight down into Council Bluffs and all the way into the Kansas City area. We'll have icing with northern portions of northwest Missouri, near northwest Missouri state, seeing some heavy snow precipitation. It will all change over to snow. So some of the worst travel conditions are going to be in places of northwest Missouri, quite possibly, that get icing first, significant icing first, a tenth of an inch, a quarter of an inch of ice with a top layer of snow to hide it all from travelers on that I-29 corridor north-south through that area. Now, the heavy snow bands with very strong winds means there will be a potential for some whiteout style conditions in places as we go through Sunday. Keep that in mind. Blizzard warnings are not going to be out of the question. I don't issue those. The National Weather Service will dictate and issue those warnings as they see fit. Look at northern Missouri here, though, right here, all the way into Kentucky. Heavy snow, just south of that, sleet and freezing rain. Here's your severe weather threat. Notice how linear this is. There will be a chance for tornadoes. But as the system becomes more linear as we go through Sunday night late, it looks like wind and hail will be the main threat through parts of Tennessee. All of the state of Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia will have that threat. But wait, there's more. As the north wind takes hold on the backside of this system, it's going to punch that cold air straight down to the Gulf Coast. And we're going to have some brutal cold weather as we start the new work week here, January 6th, moving right into the Gulf of Mexico. That cold air is going to bring temperatures in the 30s for the deep south. Snow will work its way through parts of the Virginias, southern parts of the state of Pennsylvania, and right off through Maryland and out into the Atlantic seaboard. That's a huge storm system with potential for significant icing of over a quarter of an inch, as we saw the main risk of that from Kansas through central and southern Missouri and on into parts of southern Illinois, southern Indiana, and Kentucky. That icing track will be all the way through the Central Plains states into the Mid-Atlantic states and Appalachia. So that is what we're looking at. If you have any questions, please drop a line right here. Let me know where you're watching from and what those questions are. But for now, I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Prepare for a wintry weekend with dangerous travel conditions across the lower 48. We'll keep you updated right here. But for now, you can get the latest by following my page right here on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, follow my Facebook page, or head over to hutchesweather.com anytime, anywhere. Have a wonderful Friday night, and I will keep you updated with some closer looks at icing and snow